So in order to exchange between exchange accounts, I'm going to be using Binance and my Crypto.com account. Now you'll notice that I've got $109.87 in Tether in my Crypto.com wallet on my exchange account, and I want to transfer that between Crypto.com and Binance. Okay. Now the easiest way to do it and the most simple way to do it would be just to go to withdraw, select external wallet address, and withdraw everything. However, doing that, I will pay a $20 fee, which will be a gas fee effectively because USDT Tether is an Ethereum based token, and that will be the gas fees for making that transaction basically. Okay, so that's quite a painful high amount. I'd only receive $90 effectively of my 100 and almost $10, and therefore that's not really very attractive. What I could do instead is send it as an alternative cryptocurrency. Now, I mentioned in the introduction video to this module that there are two options. You can trade it into either NEO or XRP. So if we go to the XRP option and select external wallet address, we can see they only cost me 1 XRP. At the moment, 1 XRP is around about £1 or so. But there is an even better option than that, which is NEO. And if we scroll down to NEO, we can actually see a withdrawal here of 0. Okay, that's because NEO is actually a corporate cryptocurrency, and only corporations pay gas fees, so it's free for the general user. However, there is a minimum of 1 NEO. Okay, and you can also only withdraw in whole NEO. Okay, so depending on what the NEO price is, okay, you can actually utilize that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send 1 whole NEO, and I'm going to send the rest using XRP. So let's do that now. Let's go to trade. Let's go to NEO against USDT. And actually, we can see nicely that 1 NEO is roughly the amount that I actually want to send. So if I'm going to do a market buy now, I'm going to go here because I'm not really interested in the price. I'm just doing it as a transfer. Okay. And I'm going to go 100. I'm going to go to 93.865 because that's the lowest green one there. I'll wait a little bit just to see. Okay, I'm going to get roughly just under 1 NEO. Okay, in actual fact, I'm going to round that up a little bit just to make sure, because obviously this changes really frequently, so we want to make sure we always get 1 NEO to make sure. Okay, so I might even set it a little bit higher than that to make sure that we do actually guarantee to get 1 NEO even after fees. Okay, so I'm going to set that a little bit higher than I normally would, and then I'm going to go buy, and that will go through and the order will be filled. There'll be no open orders, there'll only be an order in order history, and there we go, that is now filled. Okay, and that has been executed. So if we go back to our balances, we can actually see that we have 1 whole NEO perfect in there. Okay, so let's now decide what we're going to do with the remainder. Okay, so with the XRP, we can't actually withdraw it because there's a minimum withdrawal limit of 25. Okay, so if this was over 25, or if NEO had been a little bit cheaper, we may have been able to do both. Okay, but the process is similar. Okay, you're going to pay a little bit more in XRP just because XRP is now more expensive than when I used to do this, when XRP was 10-20 cents. It made sense to maybe send a huge amount of capital or a larger amount of capital using XRP rather than trading in whole NEO. So if you had a smaller amount, but the NEO process is going to be basically the same. Okay, so what do I do now? Well, I need to find my address. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Binance, and I'm going to go to wallet. Okay, and I'm going to go to fiat and spot. And when I'm at fiat and spot, I will be able to go to deposit, and I'm looking for crypto, and I'm specifically looking for NEO. Okay, there we go. Okay, So with Neo, there's only a deposit address. There's no memo or anything like that. And coins will be deposited after one network confirmation. So that'll be nice and quick. And until 5 confirmations are made, they will block off an amount of my balance for withdrawals just to make sure that the transaction is genuine. Okay, but that shouldn't really affect me because 5 confirmations on Neo are actually quite fast. So I'm going to copy that address and I'm going to go back to my Crypto.com account, go to withdraw, click on external wallet address, and I'm going to add a wallet address under Neo, and I'm going to make a label of Binance, and I'm going to have to use my 2-factor authentication in order to actually verify this. So 446841, and there we go. Okay, so that's added my Neo address to my Crypto.com account. I'm then going to select that, okay, and click withdraw all. Now this is a rare situation where I'm not able to actually test out that trade using a small amount of capital, and I'd argue a small amount of capital is something under $10. Okay, so I'm actually going to break my rule at the moment, but I know for a fact that I've actually just copied and pasted the address. I also am just moving some capital across. The situation with Neo is you can only send one at a time, so I'm actually going to click that now and actually just send that and type in my 2-factor authentication code again. You get used to these after a little while. There we go. Okay, so that's now successful. So what will happen now is the exchange will queue up that asset to be sent across, and I will get a notification from Binance by email when they have received it after one network confirmation. Okay. With Neo, it may be a little bit slower just because Ripple has been built for speed. So if I was sending this transaction through the Ripple network, I might send 25 Ripple just to start with, just to test out the link, and then I'd send the rest across. Okay, but obviously there'd be higher fees for doing that. I'd pay around £2, £3, or about $4 or $5 just to test that. So if I was sending maybe $2,000 across, I would potentially use Ripple, and then I would send 25 Ripple across just to test it, and then I would send the next batch of Ripple, which will be much larger once I know that connection is secure. Okay, but obviously this way of doing things, because of the small amount of capital that I'm using, I'm happy just to send one Neo completely for free. But this exchange doesn't cost me anything, okay, apart from obviously the trading between the two assets, which is negligible. And actual fact, you can actually hedge against that, because if the Neo price increases by the time it gets across to Binance, you can actually make money from the exchange, but obviously you do take the underlying risk that things may not go to plan accordingly if the price does move against you. So let's actually watch that price action now. Okay, so if we go on a 1 minute chart, we can actually see that. Okay, so at the moment it looks kind of good. Okay, I'm actually going to get probably more for my money than not by trading it against Neo, as long as I'm relatively secure in selling it when the asset does come across. Now, I'm doing this in real time. I'm hoping that the assets are actually going to show up in a reasonable time, okay, so that I can actually demonstrate to you how quick this can actually happen. But it does all depend on how busy and how reliable Crypto.com or the exchange that you are transferring out of is. Okay, generally speaking, the longest I've ever waited for a transfer is actually 12 hours. Okay, and that was actually a link transfer that happened, but that wasn't an exchange. That was a kind of savings account or a staking account effectively, and therefore they weren't able to offer the same kind of turnaround time. I would half expect this to actually be coming through within around 5 to 10 minutes. And once it does, I will receive an email notification on my phone or on my computer to tell me that Binance have received the crypto. I can then immediately exchange it for USDT. In actual fact, here we go. That's just come through. So I've just had the email through there. And if I go back to my wallet now and I just refresh that. So if I go back to Bitcoin and then I go to NEO, you can actually see that I should have, might take a little while just because of the 5 confirmation situation. Let's actually go to the wallet itself and see where we are. So we should have, perfect, 1 NEO. Okay, and now I can just trade that against USDT or USDC. I'm going to trade that actually against USDT, which is the more liquid pair. And nicely, I've actually made a little bit on that transfer. So I'm actually going to sell that out immediately. So I'm going to go to market sell, just because I'm not interested in getting a specific price. I just want to get out of the market. And I'm going to move the tab to maximum. And I'm going to say sell. And immediately that will be filled. And then I can go back to my wallet and I can actually see my USDT, which should be here. Perfect. So 94.37. And if I go back to my order and look at the order history, I can actually see that I actually bought the NEO for 94 and sold it for 94.37. So I made 37 cents effectively on that transfer. So that transfer was better than free. Now obviously that's market dependent and it doesn't always go that way, but theoretically if you are exchanging and you're doing it in a reasonable time frame and you look at the charts and kind of examine what might happen in the next kind of 15 minutes when you do your transfer, you can theoretically get better than free exchanges, which is, you know, a lot better than paying $20 to exchange your crypto.